I'm in a meeting, and I'm trying to look interested as this guy is explaining his wish fulfillment. And in the back of my throat, it's like, things fall apart. The center cannot hold, okay?
Oh my God.
I hold up my finger, and I try to say, hold that thought. It'll just be a minute. But what comes out is, and I stand up, and I open the door, and I leave Mary's office, and now I'm coughing, like, full of coughing.
We're getting old.
When you walked in that cardigan, I thought, that's it. Full disclosure, it's going to be one of those conversations. We don't have a lot of governor on Rico Colantoni. He's been on the podcast before. More importantly, I've known him for 30 years. Chuck's known him for about 50. Is that possible? How long have you known him?
I've known by a year and a half. I met you the same year that I met Chuck. So I've known you about 40 years.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's true.
When you were at the academy.
Yeah, you came to New York to visit us, yeah.
Yeah. Did we talk about that night? Still one of my favorite nights my whole life.
Which one? I've already forgotten.
We were high, of course. It was night. It was dark. And we were walking by. And there was a guy laid out on the sidewalk.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody's looking at him. And Mike goes, yeah, he just fell out from the sky. He just like landed there. And then he was just like, what? Really? And you had this total stranger just kind of keep looking up on how this guy ended up on the floor.
So you had just moved there too then, down from...
Yeah, we started at the same time. Chuck and I started at the academy in February. So I just came in from Toronto. It was great. When we lived there, it was like, it was so alive. Yeah, remember those days? Those were fun days. It was a long time ago. And Chuck is a constant reminder. I'm so grateful that he's in my life to remind me how far. Because you need a witness.
Well, I'm sure he's grateful that you're in his house right now.
No, he needs me there.
Yeah.
He needs me there.
We need you on that wall.
I know.
You want me on that wall.
Are we started, by the way?
Oh, yeah. We're deep into it. What I'm looking at is a version of Rico that I haven't seen. There's a cardigan.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's what appears to be some kind of active sweatpants, leisure wear.
They're linen pants, just comfortable. Because I'm 12 days out of a hip surgery.
Yeah.
So this is like comfy.
I got it.
Because if I have to whip my pants down and check my bandage, I'm ready to go. It's like everything.
We'll get
is
there.
Like,
just hang on for a second.
I took pictures today. I'm
look,
doing really well, by the way.
I'm going to look at the pictures. With your permission, we'll share the pictures. I think part of what we ought to do with the time we have is bend this in, if not necessarily to a public service announcement, at least to some teachable moments for people.
Oh yeah,
because
warning signs, things that happen. Can I share what happened?
I want to hear what happened.
Oh my God!
I mean, because again, I ran into you 20 minutes ago out front. You were needlessly early. There's no extra credit for that. But Chuck, I'm letting myself back in from lunch, and this older homeless gentleman walks up to us, wearing a cardigan.
With a cane.
With a cane, and mumbles something behind his...
Mr. Rowe.
And I was like, oh, well, isn't this nice? Right? And it's like, it's always nice to be recognized, even if it is by the great unwashed. And this grizzled man is my old friend Rico. I'm like, good Lord, with the cardigan and the cane.
The cardigan and the hair. I haven't done my hair. I came.
Wait. I
haven't done my hair.
You haven't done your hair.
I haven't done my hair. I usually trim it. It's never this long. This is like post-op Rico. I actually I trimmed the beard.
You've got more hair on your face than you do on your head.
On my chest. You can't even know it's on my chest. But it's like I was like under a knife 2 weeks ago, and I barely started walking. And this weekend, I had an allergic reaction to the bandage, and things started oozing everywhere. Oh,
dear. And now you're in the guest bedroom at Chuck's place.
Well, I wore
which is where I sleep,
that
by the way.
The sheets, and I washed the sheets and stuff. Yeah, you've slept in that bed
many times.
It was just oozing and pussing, and everything was leaking. And I go, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
It's no joke when you choke, so get life back and live. Without breath, there'll be death. So get life back and live. Get life back and live. Get life back and live.
Life back and live. I've been traumatized by this myself, not directly, but my dad had a inguinal hernia.
Oh.
And part of the reality of repairing that thing affected his what they call a hydrocele. When you're that old and when your body does something that it's never done before, for him anyway, it made him curious, but also certainly not proud, but not ashamed either. It was like a new tattoo that he was showing it to everyone.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing that he would have such pride around that.
My mother, in Vacuuming in the Nude, wrote about this.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Here, look.
How is your mom, by the way? She's
great. She turned 87 yesterday.
That's wonderful.
Right.
Yesterday?
Yep. That night following the surgery, my husband and I were at home as the anesthesia was wearing off. He lifted the sheet, stared wide-eyed for a moment, then screamed like a man engulfed in flames. "Peg, come here, quick!" I pulled away the sheet and thought, my Lord, what's an eggplant doing down there on his private parts? I knew, of course, that it was my husband's scrotum, but only because of the position it occupied between his legs.
Oh, my God.
Again, folks, I apologize.
No. I mean, we got to talk about it. It happens.
Yeah.
No, because, anybody who says, hips, no complications, no nothing, you get your hip replaced, you're walking right away, they don't talk about how difficult it is to sleep, how difficult it is if you get an infection, because it's still a surgery. So I've had one done 6 years ago. I had a rash. I thought it was normal. This time I thought it was the same rash, but then when you start swelling up sideways.
Yeah.
And wrinkles, and it's just like it was frightening. It was a frightening moment. So we don't talk about those things, and we should.
Well, we are.
More and more.
It's too late. But back to the hip.
So used to just looking at Chuck. He can't. Why can't he sit there?
We tried it. We focus grouped it, and the people were unanimous. He's in the shot too much.
No.
Look, he's got a dedicated camera. If you miss him, just cut right now, Chuck. There you go. See? He's there.
Yeah.
He's there.
Yeah.
It's just that, actually, we probably should have put him back here because it's you guys.
Yeah.
But when a new person comes in here, you only have so much time to establish.
He'll make a new guy nervous, I know.
You know what? Chuck has a nervous energy about him that he didn't used to have. And I'm wondering if you can confirm any of this.
I think since he started working with you, Mike, I'm pretty
It's possible.
I think if I had to narrow it down,
he would stand
100%.
Yeah, I think that's when it all happened.
We were like whiteboarding some ideas like 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe more when I really noticed this. But see that girder up there?
Yeah.
Like on that girder, hang on a sec. I'm going to grab one of these right now. These things. These little stupid hats,
Yeah, these things are great. Oh, somebody took a bite out of that.
He would stand there and just start throwing them to try and make them stick. And then he'd start pacing. He was like a wildebeest with the turning sickness, just walking in circles with these little yellow foam squeeze hard hats, and he couldn't sit still. And I'd never noticed that about you before, and now it's all I see. All I see.
Yeah,
it's tragic but true.
It's true.
Back to your hips. 6 years ago. 6 years ago, what's up? You're a young man. What'd you do to your hips?
I don't know. But Mom and Dad both had them done, in their 70s.
Yeah.
So I figured it was just a matter of time. And everybody said, well, it's inevitable. You got arthritis there. And it was like,
all right, well, that's something.
And so I was dumb enough to take a kickboxing class this summer. And it jacked me. But I had to go to work. I'm doing a show up in Canada called Allegiance where I have to play a police officer, a beat cop.
Oh, God.
So they had to write in that I had hip issues because I couldn't not limp, storming the cat. I got my gun all ready to kick the door down, and I'm like Ratso Rizzo,
right,
storming the castle. It's not good. So for 4 months, I'm in absolute agony. I had this window to get it done because English teacher supposedly is coming back at the end of February.
New show, by the way.
And I've been waiting in Canada for a hip replacement for 4 years. We could talk about a whole segment. It's 4 years.
So
they must have lost my number. But I put my name on a list, in Ontario 4 years ago, and I still haven't heard from them.
So you got your left hip done
Yeah.
6
Here.
years ago.
Here.
Yeah. Then you go back up to Canada.
And I'm going, I'm going to need this done.
Yeah.
And I'm putting myself on the list early because I know it'll take some time. 4 years later, I'm still okay. But then when it happened, I would have to wait another year.
How many movies have you done?
I don't know.
How many TV series?
Chuck will know.
Chuck, look into it for me.
Okay.
It's a larger point I want to make.
Yeah.
You've been a working actor, I think, longer than any other working actor I know. By the way, Tim Allen says hello. He sat right here
Did he
yesterday.
remember me this time?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No. But he did say hello. It's just impossible to come to any other conclusion but for the undeniable fact that you're a remarkably successful actor who has thrived in his chosen field.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
and you can certainly you can get your hips done, you get your legs replaced, you do whatever you want. You can get better testicles, get the whole scrotum thing worked out. You're a man of resources and means, is what I'm saying.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
right. And you're living right now. You've been at Chuck's for the last month and a half.
Yeah.
You could be in any facility in the Los Angeles area. You could be any home.
Yeah.
You choose to be where you are
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Make it make sense for me.
I love Chuck.
That's it.
He's my oldest and dearest friend, and coming back and just knowing that there's a place that I can feel absolutely at home. I mean, they offered hotels. I could stay in a hotel. But I go, no, it's just easier at Chuck's. I love it because he's literally working with you during the day, so I have the place to myself.
Oh yeah.
And then he comes home and we just catch up.
Well, he actually didn't come home last night.
No, he didn't. All week he's been away.
You know what he did? The animal. He took an aero bed I bought 20 years ago.
Facts.
Right? Because when he was living in that shoebox not far from where he is now, I would crash there, really for the same reasons you're describing.
Yeah, of course.
But, there was no place to lie down comfortably.
No.
He had this chaise lounge.
They had the chaise lounge, yeah. What do we call it?
Oh,
What
I
do we
don't say
no,
what
we
we
don't
call
say
it.
we
No,
don't say
no,
this.
that's
We
not
don't
good.
call it the splooge chair. A lot has happened on that chair.
Let's call it the ooze chair at this point, because you've been oozing all over the place. But the point is, at that point in my life, I could probably have stayed any number of places.
Yeah.
But I got an aero bed and I blew it up and I slept like a dog at the foot of his desk, and he was in the other room. With, who knows who.
Yeah.
And I'm just lying out there, and there were nights where I would say to myself, "What are you doing? Like, why are you here exactly?"
I could be ordering room service someplace right now.
Right.
Anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
But it'll amuse you to know that last night, right there to your
there
right,
on that same aero bed.
on the same aero bed.
Did you find it in the closet, by the way?
Yeah.
You just dug it out. Yeah.
yeah,
We knew
yeah.
it was there.
It was there. Still there. Still had the sheets with it that fit it. So that was it. Worked real
It
good.
still had the sheets already on it, like fitted, ready to go?
No, they were folded up.
Oh,
and,
okay,
okay.
okay.
They were clean.
That'd be weird
So,
if it was just ready to go from 20 years ago.
Why is it relevant? Why is it interesting? I'll tell you why. Because most of the people listening to this don't have famous friends. And many of them are thinking, God, if I were famous, what I would do is blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. But your choices, and to some extent, I think maybe my own, reflect the fact that it never changes. In the end,
love
whether
that.
it's your hip or your sphincter or your testicle, like whatever's let you down, if you need some time to get your feet back under you, you want to be around somebody who you care about or who cares about you. Just doesn't matter where you go. I'm going to make you cry.
Oh, you've done it. You've done it.
I'm gonna
This
make
is
you cry, dude. Yeah. So sweet. You're just one of the sweetest dudes walking around.
Trying to stifle that one.
Nice try, dude. Nice try.
I couldn't do it.
Oh shoot.
Oh my God, Mike. Oh, you made me cry.
You want to hear something funny,
It's
man?
true, but it wasn't just her. Amy was there.
Yeah.
Amy spent, 10 nights on that side of the couch. Just, it's like people in Toronto are going, well, why don't you get it done here? I go, because Chuck and Amy are down there.
So why is it? Why is it that the people we've known the longest get more important as we get older?
Mike, really, I feel like I just got ambushed.
Imagine there's a microphone pointed somewhere towards your mouth.
And
If you're going to
to
be
it.
poignant in a way that
I'm
to
not
make-
pointing. I'm just emotional.
know you're
I'm
emotional.
sentimental.
But I want the lesser famous people listening right now to understand the universality
Yeah.
of the unassailable truth
Yeah.
that you're.
I think in all the years that I've done what I've done, I've made 2 legitimate friends, like Hollywood friends.
Yeah.
Not someone that I've known from New York or from the past or from high school. 2 legitimate Hollywood personalities that I could call and say, hey, let's get some dinner. And some. One of them is no longer with us, and the other one lives on the East Coast. But
Tim Allen.
Alan Rickman was the most generous human being,
Yeah.
and lovely and welcoming, and he made you feel like you were his dear, dear friend. And Whoopi Goldberg is the other one, and Whoopi is just one of I just adore Whoopi. But anybody else that I've worked with and passing, I don't gravitate toward them. I don't gravitate toward them because these 2 specific people, Hollywood people, look you in the eye, and they really make you feel like they want to know you. And so why would, when you look back, and I referred to Chuck as a witness. I refer to you as a witness. I've seen where you started. I knew to be able to say that, to be able to know that no matter what, I'm going to be there for that man, and he'll be there for me and Amy. And it's like, I'm not going to pass that up for anything.
But precious.
It's absolutely precious. And and the older you get, and the more people you meet, and the more people that want to know you, I don't, going into a hotel and have people greet you with a smile, they're waiting for some,
Sure.
But no, I don't know how to make it more profound than that. That's other than after 40 years, he's my brother.
Which brings us to the question of the rent.
Oh, now you really made him cry. Look at him. Oh, my God. He's really worked up about the rent.
We have a deal. If I'm there for a period of time, I feed him. Dinner.
Which is quite expensive.
Yeah, you know what
as
I mean?
you know, I like to eat.
Yeah, I feed him.
Yeah.
And I think that works well for both of us because, I think that's a pretty good deal. Yeah, Chuck?
Yeah, that's a great deal. I love that deal.
Well, I mean, you're obviously talking about the literal business of chewing and swallowing actual food.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're also talking about nourishment, right? Like what actually nourishes? When do you feel truly fed? It's not when you jam your gob full of whatever available sticky fodder is within reach. It's when you sit there and watch somebody who loves you prepare a meal for you.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we don't prepare that much anymore, but we'll.
Well, Amy cooked. That's what
Amy
she did
cooked
while
for
she was
10
there, which was
days,
great.
yeah.
And she's amazing, as
Yeah.
you know.
yeah.
So for 10 days, she was making something, and she would ask what we want, and Chuck could come, how about this? Poof. And there it was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sorbet is still in the freezer. It's really good. She made.
gonna
Chuck
have to check
Chuck
that
had
out.
4 huge pomegranates just sitting there, and they were getting. It was time. Mm-hmm. And Amy saw them, and she goes, "What can I make with pomegranate?" And she turned it all into this great sorbet. So it's sitting there.
Yeah.
So it felt like camp. It felt like camp.
Did when you were
Felt
at
like camp.
camp, Mike? Did anybody make pomegranate sorbet?
No, you may be confused. It's the type of camps I attended. But we were
Boy
really
Scout.
skinny.
No.
I was a Boy Scout.
Yeah, but no pomegranates.
No, there was no pomegranate. That would have been frowned on. That would have been viewed with suspicion, looked at askance.
Well, imagine me looking at Chuck over the counter, just literally peeling all the membrane between seeds and just eating it like that. It looked
Was this
sad. So Amy interrupted it all and just turned
Thank
it
God
all
she
into
was there.
magic. Yeah.
But just back to the scrotum, briefly. Was it oozing as the pomegranates were being peeled? Is there some metaphor? Because my mom really leaned into
That's very
the eggplant.
That's good. Yeah.
And so, like, it's
the crushing of the pomegranate juice.
and the seed reference. But beyond that, there's something in our brain that forces us to think about growths, tumors, organs, all these things. We try and find their corollary in like the fruit or vegetable world. And I don't know why we do that, but it interests me.
I think because trying to describe it otherwise is impossible. I couldn't describe what was going on down there.
Right.
But if I had thought of a pomegranate at the time,
It would have applied.
It would have applied. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
But definitely a crushed beer can, just like.
God,
I know, it was scary.
it's amazing.
It was scary.
Do you have pictures? I mean,
I don't.
You really didn't document that.
I couldn't. I didn't want. It was that.
Angle wasn't wide enough. Simply couldn't find a lens
I couldn't find the light
to
enough
accommodate
to
the
really
two
capture.
lessons.
It's like a landscape. It's like the Grand Canyon. You can't really capture the scope of the Grand Canyon on a cell phone. So it's just like, enough. This is just for me and you and me. And I was good with that, especially when it started to die down. Like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh God.
Yeah.
According to the graphic that Chuck has put up, you're
I'm an
award-winning
award-winning actor. Is that how you spell winning? 2 N's? I guess.
Not
that would
Rowe.
be whining, I guess.
3 of them, technically, 3 N's.
3 N's.
Yeah, just not all grouped up.
Winning.
That's funny that
Yeah.
you say whining. Just one letter away, you could be an
I could be a
award-winning
whining
actor.
A whining actor.
Is there anything less attractive in your estimation than an actor who's not sufficiently grateful? One who whines, in other words?
I hope I never meet anyone like that.
Oh, come on. You've encountered some actors who don't.
I wouldn't call them whining. I'd call them entitled and thinking that somehow they're bigger than
your
Then your
scrotum.
scrotum.
Hey, if you pause in the middle of a sentence and you're searching for a metaphor,
You're jumping in.
somebody's
You're
going to
jumping
hop in,
in.
here. Somebody's going to hop in. And the odds are good for the next 40 minutes or so that the answer is going to be scrotum. If there's an awkward pause.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, going back to what you asked before, Rico has, according to IMDb, he has 110 acting credits, 7 producing credits, 7 directing credits, 1 writer credit, and 37 appearances as himself.
Huh. Just 110? That's it?
So that's what it says.
That's specific credits,
As
not,
it- specific
not,
credits.
not hours.
No, not
Yeah,
ours.
okay.
No.
No.
Yeah.
So if this were the actor's studio, and I were James Lipton, I suppose the question would be, of which of those many credits are you most proud, Enrico?
Hope and Gloria.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It was the first job that got me to L.A. It was the first steady gig that made me feel like I'm a working class actor.
I can see why that would make you. I can see why that would make you
Yeah.
feel grateful.
Yeah.
But proud was the question.
Alan Thicke was on there.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Negron, Cynthia Stevenson, Jessica Lundy, and it was the kind of show that was just it was ostentatious for that time.
Yeah.
And I got to play a complete doofus, a guy named
Elliot.
Utz. No, that was Just Shoot Me.
Oh, right.
Just Shoot Me was a lot of fun. But playing a guy named Louis Utz, I could play
Find me
could
Louis
be
Utz, for
Utz.
God's sake.
right there.
That's
Right
it?
there. That's me. Yeah.
Oh, I was looking at the
Yeah.
wrestling going on, like diving through the air.
Yeah.
There's no way
Can
that's
see
you.
that?
Let
Yeah.
me see if I can make this bigger.
With those hips?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
Wrong way, Chuck.
It'll always be Galaxy Quest that made me. That show, I think, actually legitimized me as an actor.
Did you know it when it was happening?
But the fun that we were having, that's all we knew.
Because I said to
Yeah.
Tim yesterday,
Yeah.
stupidly, as he was leaving, I didn't say it when we were sitting here, but the thing that really struck me about that movie was I liked everybody who was in it before I saw it, and afterwards I liked everybody even more.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Sam
his-
Rockwell?
Yeah, fantastic. He had just finished the Green Mile and stuff, and
Yeah.
Daryl Mitchell, who's now on Tim's new show.
Mm-hmm.
But Dean Pariseau, who was sort of hired behind the 8 ball, because I think it was Harold Ramis who was supposed to do it.
Originally, and
Right,
it was
with
Mark
Kevin
Johnson directing, right? Or
Mark
producing.
Johnson was producing.
Right.
Kevin Kline was supposed to play Tim's part. This is how I heard it.
Yeah.
And so they backed out, and Dean had all of like 2 months to pick up the ball and run with it. So he was just really hands off. He cast it, and he literally just let us play. So we had more fun, and it left us with a feeling of like, the danger of we're having more fun than an audience is going to have watching it.
Right. Like breaking sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? It's indulgent.
Oh my God. It was just the most, and Tim was notorious.
Yeah.
And it was only Sigourney who would sort of bring him back down to planet Earth and bring him back. Come on, Tim, we have to go back to work. Because if you gave Tim audience, that's it. It was just like, it was endless.
Yeah.
And Chill would always be at his feet, just like laughing hysterically. So it was always Sigourney who said, come on, Tim, got to go back. Got to go back to work.
You needed Sigourney here yesterday.
No kidding, man. Look, I loved him, and this is the second time I've interviewed him, but he is he's at such an interesting point in his life, right? Like us, older than he's ever been. He's got a lot on his mind, and in the wake of the fires, he's a philosophy major, and he's contemplating the mysteries of the universe and physics, and like the unexamined life in Kierkegaard, and like all of these.
Jeez.
I mean, he literally got off the elevator in the middle of a sentence, and there was nobody on the elevator, so he's like talking to himself. And we come out, we say hello, and just we're talking, and we just sit down, and so there's no real beginning or end of this conversation, but it goes on for well over 2 hours.
Yeah.
And
Nothing's changed.
he just has he thinks deeply on big ideas.
And funny.
And funny, yeah.
And
always
funny.
Were you and Rickman pals prior to this?
No.
That's where you met.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the same way I met Whoopi on the Hollywood Squares, is like, we would do, back when she was the center square,
Yeah.
they would move us around. We did five in a day, covered the whole week. And so I found myself next to her. And I knew I was next to her. And I sort of looked over there, and she was already waiting for me. Hello. Right? And that was it. And she hasn't stopped looking at me like that since, just, how are you? Welcome. I don't know. It's like, it was just a thing. I see it in her. She sees it in me. It's just good folk. Good folk. And Tim and Alan was, my point is that Alan was the same way. He looked at me, he goes, I would like to see you in the theater. You know what I mean? He'd like to see you do a play.
Yeah.
And
did he? Did he ever see you do a play?
You know what? I was in London doing a new play. Chuck came to see me, but he was in New York directing a play. But Rima, his partner, and his stable of friends all came to support me.
That's good.
And took me to dinner on his behalf. And, so he was,
What was the play?
Neil Abute wrote a play called The Distance from Here.
Mm.
Yeah. And it was, they didn't like it at all. The Brits didn't like it at all.
Who cares?
But it was fun.
When did I see you on stage? I saw you do.
Did you do Vanya? Did you see Vanya or Macbeth?
Macbeth.
Yeah.
It was Macbeth.
Yeah, you came to Macbeth. Yeah.
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 What was the twist on the Macbeth show that I saw?
Six cast members, and it was sort of a cyclical story where he's like living in his head. Everything was happening in his head. So we started in a traditional way, but we ended up in the exact same spot before the witches, because he just got the witches told him that you will be king, and so he's like all wrapped up in his head. The story goes, and then we ended up right back there living in his head. So it was. How else do you do it with 6 actors?
Come sealing night, scarf up the tender eye of pitiful day, and with thy bloody and invisible hand cast off that wretched bond that keeps me pale. Light thickens, the crow makes way to the rooky wood. Good things of day do droop and drowse, while night's black agents to their prey do rouse. Yeah, man, he could turn a phrase, that dude.
Wow. I'm going to cry again.
Good. I'll tell you why I know that one. It'll make you laugh. Well, it might make you weep. I don't know. I was living in New York, and my friend who I was living with owned a recording studio called the GLC, the Giant Lizard Company. And he had somehow forged a relationship with Tip O'Neill's, I think, son or relation, or some guy was related to Tip O'Neill. And he was involved in a project of Japanese anime. And so this is a long time ago. And it was called Vampires of New York.
Oh.
And so it's about it's this hyper-violent animated show about vampires who somehow save the day in some kind of vigilante construct. And there was no real dialogue. It was all just acted out with beautiful symphonic music playing with layers of creepy narration on top of it. And so this guy only wanted to record at the Giant Lizard Company at midnight. And he would call my friend Dan, and I was living with Dan at the time. And Dan says to this guy, hey, my friend Mike has kind of a creepy voice, or at least he can make it creepy. So I would go in and read these random chunks of great Gothic literature. So there's Lovecraft, there's Shakespeare, obviously, there's Camus, you know, the rats coming to dine in the happy city, and like all this stuff. And it was the weirdest combination of stuff, because these guys were smoking all the weed in the world. And it was just a cloud of cannabis in the air.
Wow.
With this great
and
music.
And after all
playing.
these years, you remember that one particular speech.
I do. It stuck. And I remember you saying those words too, even if you don't.
Yeah, I don't. I don't at all.
In that production. I was like, oh man, I remember that. Because it wasn't that long before you did that show that I was doing
That's
this
so
very
funny.
strange thing.
I didn't know that. That would have been cool.
Proving once again that Shakespeare is always in the room.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was, oof.
Rico,
Yeah,
who
buddy.
played your Lady Macbeth?
She was on
She was on
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, the wife in Breaking
The Wife
Bad.
in Breaking
Oh,
Bad.
she's terrific.
Yeah, what's her name?
Yeah.
Mrs. White.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
cross paths with
No.
Cranston here and there? Bryan Cranston?
No.
No?
No, we did Contagion together. And thank God that...
That's crossing paths, dude.
Huh?
Anna Gunn. It's Anna Gunn.
Anna Gunn. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Anna Get Your Gun.
Yeah. Brian and I did Contagion, but I hadn't seen Breaking Bad at that point. So it was sort of like, hey, man, what's up?
Yeah.
If I had seen Breaking Bad and then gotten to work with him, I think I would have been a little nervous.
Is that Rainn Wilson, a very young Rainn Wilson on the far
Yeah,
end?
that's Rain.
Wow.
That's Rain. Missy
Wow,
Pyle.
I
Yeah.
never knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it until just now.
Yeah.
We're looking at a picture of Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's Rainn Wilson from The Office. Well, and who knew? Of course, that's way before The Office.
Way before The Office. He was like, he would come and watch Just Shoot Me, go, I want to do this. It was just like, yeah, you're going to do this. It's crazy. Because he created things. He came out of the NYU with, with that group of the Deb Messings and stuff. And he had created a clown show called The New Bozema or something. So we already knew that he was a genius, sort of crazy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how many guys like that, and women, do you think are walking around in this business who truly have the goods,
Yeah.
who have something special and unique, but just have not yet stumbled into the world or the opportunity that's gonna unleash it, or haven't found their hope and glory?
Yeah. I don't know, Mike. I don't know. That makes me sad too, right? Because
Don't cry.
No, but that's a different kind of sad.
Oh,
Because you got to want it too, right? You got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I want that. I have the goods, and there's got to be I've got the goods plus.
yeah.
A willingness to, eat bouillon cubes and to go through the mud and really, really develop a thick skin and deal with the rejection and keep going. I think, I mean, you know, my daughter is in theater school now, and she has the benefit of me talking her through it, but I worry about her because how bad does she want it? Is she willing to go to New York? Is she willing to walk away from everything and just create something and really just close any back door? I don't know who's willing to do that. I don't know how many of these talented people we're talking about are willing to shut a door so that other door will automatically open for them. But too many of them leave it way open just in case.
How bad did you want it?
Enough to walk away from my family and live in New York, and it just one foot in front of the other, and kept going.
Had you not had Hope and Gloria, or the successes that you did when you did,
Yeah,
would you still be pushing the rock up the hill? Did you want it that bad?
I think I would have. I think because even the theater, even though, you know, monetarily you're not making that much doing plays, but
Hell, you're losing money.
yeah, you're paying them. But that need to be connected to, I call the spirit, that creative spirit.
The older I get, the more I think about, you know, the honest answer to that question.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just sitting here looking at my mom on the front of her third book, right? And
Mike, you're going to keep creating something new. I mean, you might not be doing this in 5 years or next month, but you're gonna make something else up. You can't not make something else up.
I can't not try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
I
Yeah.
can't determine, right, what's going to happen.
But something.
I'll
something.
throw the mud
something.
for as long as I, you know.
That's the spirit. That's the energy. That's that creative spirit that is always bigger than ego. It's always bigger than pride. It's just that need to just keep creating something.
Yes, but you can have it. Like, how long do you stand at the slot machine pulling the lever and never winning? Right?
That's different. That's got to be different.
Well, I think maybe mechanically it's different, but this woman, my mom, she wrote, her dream was to be a best-selling author. And then her dream was to be a published author. She didn't care about being a bestseller. And then when it became clear that those two things weren't going to happen, after writing for 35 years every day and not getting a book deal, she gave up on the dream, but she didn't give up on the work. This woman wrote every day for 60 years.
Yes.
And when she was 80,
Yes.
she got her first book.
Yes.
And it went to the top of the
Yes.
bestseller. So in some way, shape, or form, I always come back to, do you have 60 years of doing the same thing every day and getting no success? Do you have the facility to stay at the machine that long? I don't think I do. You know, I got enough success early on to
I
feel
think
like,
it's
okay.
different because that machine is an expectation outside of yourself. You're waiting for the world to change, as opposed to staying connected to putting your work boots on and going to work. Amy Diston was telling me this great story about her dad and how he was working for Lockheed Martin and he was laid off for 4 months. But every day he got dressed and he went to the office.
Yeah.
He would, for 4 months, his wife didn't know about it. Nobody knew that he got laid off. But every day he woke up, he got dressed, and he went to the office, and he just waited there. And the more he waited, the more he showed his face, and the more he just committed to that, who he was. It only lasted 4 months. They positioned him. They brought him over there. It didn't last long. Everybody else was laid off, and they've forgotten about, but he was there, still just showing up. Just showing up.
I don't know what the lesson there is. I mean, it's a great story. But
Have you read the War of Art?
Oh, sure.
Right?
Pressman?
Yeah.
Pressfield?
Yeah. Just like he puts his boots on and he goes in and he starts typing. That's what your mom did. She didn't give up on the need to write. She didn't give up on that.
Her office was her kitchen. Okay, she wasn't literally going into a building.
Yeah, but she was doing a painter's paint, writer's write.
Okay.
You know, actors act. Okay, I'm on a TV show now. I'm making,
Literally hundreds of dollars.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I need to act. If it's a small theater or a big venue, I need to do that. I need to do it, and not out of just out of that's who I am.
The other thing you need to do is not act. Like, you need to be so off book. You need to be so off script. You need this. You need to cry at a card trick. You need to hear something that resonates in a way that just feels so completely honest and real. And I guess maybe, obviously,
Well,
that's
it's
the
you,
thing can
Mike,
use.
but it's you too. It's you too. I've known you. I mean, you know. Yeah, you know. I mean, your intellect is
Fast.
is this.
It's fast.
It's fast, and I'm not that fast.
No,
So-
vast.
It's vast.
It's not fast.
It's vast and fast.
It's enormous
It's
and facile.
Not unlike my
Not
scrotum
unlike
this
your
weekend.
pomegranate.
It
Good
keeps
God.
coming up.
Seriously,
It
guys.
just keeps growing.
Seriously.
You know what I'm trying to say. So
I do.
for as long as I've known you, not only have you been, you're an intimidating presence because of your vastness.
Sure.
But at the same time, you make me feel completely at home and okay to just mumble and bumble and
Well, you make me proud to share the species with you. You really do, because you're like a tuning fork. You're an emotional tuning fork. You can walk into a room and somebody goes ding, and there's Ray ding, boo. There he is, man. He's in the room. He's in the room, and
there
the
he is,
frequency
crying,
Yeah.
crying.
But he hums with his own unique enthusiasm.
I squealed, didn't I? That was a squeal. That was a cry squeal.
Just now.
You made me squeal.
Yeah, you're welcome. You and Ned Beatty.
Oh my God, me and that baby. Oh no.
You just got that?
Oh no.
Vast and fast, Rico.
Oh my God, he's crying hard now.
What'd you find? What'd you find?
What is happening? What is
Coughing
happening?
up that oyster again.
I have to swallow it. Those aren't meant to be swallowed.
Oh my.
Let me tell you what happened to me yesterday.
Why did Ned Beatty make you cry?
The squeal part.
Well, dude,
The
there's-
squeal part. Oh, poor Ned
What's
Beatty.
funnier than sodomy?
Oh my God.
the woods.
nothing. Oh my God. I don't know why that. Oh, that was good. And you know, 4 weeks ago, Mike, if I had laughed that hard, I'd be in such pain right here. I'd be in such pain right here. So that was a good laugh that reminded me. Oh, I'm healing. That's good.
Well, I
You
was
and Ned Beatty.
I was trying to find a way to transition into humility. So what happened to me yesterday? I got to tell you this. I was in a meeting across the hall there with Mary and some CEO of some big company in Australia, and they're in the middle of this pitch, and they're leaning in, okay, and I'm sipping my tea and I'm full of steroids and antibiotics and just
From their thing, from
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
that was.
Oh yeah. I don't normally cough like this in the middle
Yeah,
of
that was
sentences.
that was a huge cough.
Well, that happened yesterday.
Oh, my.
Times about 5.
Oh.
And so the reason I wanted to get that out now is because I didn't get it out yesterday. I fought it, and I like keep it down because I'm in a meeting and I'm trying to look interested as this guy is explaining his wish fulfillment and his life story, and he's created his company, and he's here to ask me if I would speak on behalf of his dream, okay? And in the back of my throat, it's like, things fall apart. The center cannot hold, okay?
Oh my God.
I'm going full Yates on this thing. And then I had to cough so bad, but wasn't, that I started to cry.
Oh.
Now, I'm looking at the guy, and the guy's looking at me, and he's thinking, I'm
I
killing
got him. I got him.
I got him. He's hanging on every word. So I'm sitting there crying, and all I'm trying to do is not cough or crap up my back, okay? And this guy is telling me the story of his life. And out of nowhere, and Mary's sitting there, and she knows something's wrong with me because I don't cry. I never cry. I don't have any feelings left anymore. I've heard it all. I'm the opposite of you. I'm a tuning fork with one prong. And so I hold up my finger and I try to say, hold that thought. It'll just be a minute. But what comes out is, and I stand up and I open the door and I leave Mary's office. And now I'm coughing, like, full of cough. And I'm running for the bathroom. Not because I feel like anything's going to tear loose, but because I need to cough as loud as I can and as hard as I can. And I don't want to do it in my office. And I certainly don't want to do it in front of this poor guy who flew in from Australia. I get to the bathroom, and before I get the door closed behind me, I fall to my knees, and I start coughing. I kind of like that.
Is it one of those?
My entire trachea spasmed. And I threw up all over my feet. I coughed so hard I threw up on my shoes. And I was so stunned because I didn't have any feeling of nausea. I was just coughing, and suddenly, wah. So now,
Oh my God!
through the wall, I can still hear the guy going, anyway, we're thinking, right, you know, you come in with this idea in the market, we introduce you in you know, Austin first, and then maybe we come over here. And I'm thinking, shit, man, if I can hear him, he just heard that. He just heard that. So in the midst of all of this, you know, whether it's your hydrocele or your oozy scrotum or your weepy wound,
We're getting old. It's getting harder, isn't it?
when you walked in that cardigan, I thought, that's it. That's where we are, man.
I mean, the quality of the cardigan is nice. It's nice.
top
It's
shelf.
a nice. It's a you want to touch it.
So what a life now. 2 shows in production, is that right?
A Canadian show, 2 Canadian shows, and an English teacher. Yeah, on FX. Yep.
So Chuck has been bragging on the English teacher thing forever.
Have you not seen it?
I haven't seen it, but my parents were both teachers, and I'm English by extraction. So I feel as though you finally did a project for me.
I think you'll like it, Mike. I think you'll like it.
Can we watch a promo or something? Is that possible?
Oh, for the love of Pete.
This is new, by the way. Did Chuck tell you this is new?
No,
This like the live
I live there.
switching?
I know exactly the stress he's been under the past 2 weeks. The sleepless nights. Oh yeah, it's like, how am I gonna do this?
Dude, it's my fault, but I can't.
Oh, I know.
But I'm not trying to torture
No,
anybody.
I know. You wouldn't do
It's
that.
that feeling where, I mean, don't you think that I think of it like a pop fly. Like foul balls are either going up or they're coming down. And like there's a moment where they're doing neither. They're just sort of suspended there. And there's a temptation to look at any good thing, a marriage, a relationship, a TV show, a role, as like, oh yeah, we're in that sweet spot and it's just going to stay there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Not for you.
I don't know for anybody.
I know, but I've known you long enough. It's just like you just keep reinventing yourself. So I get.
Well, you keep getting new roles. It's the same sort of thing. Like you're playing.
And you get better and better and better, and it becomes sweeter and sweeter and sweeter, and easier and easier and easier to transition from one to the next.
You get better and better and better at being lots of different people. I hope I get better at being me, because that's all I do. Like whether it's behind a mic or in front of a camera. And the reason I make his life miserable is I know we have to keep always being uncomfortable.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Somehow.
No, that's great.
Somehow. I do.
That's great.
I do.
That's great.
But I don't know how to do that necessarily outside of like in your world, it's get a new part, get a new role.
Yeah, it's always first day kindergarten.
Oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
He's good. What's his name?
Which one? Brian or
The good one.
Or
No, not the other guy. He's no good. The good one.
No, you'd love this show. I mean, I think it's got a nice take on woke versus conservative. You know, they make fun of everybody.
Yeah?
Nobody's safe, you know.
As long as they make fun of everybody.
They make fun of everybody. They really, really do. I mean, Brian is gay in real life. He plays a gay English teacher, but it really, and you know, my one of my favorite lines from the first episode is the coach is saying, "Come on, You're defending yourself. Just tell them that you're a proud gay man. He goes, I'm not that proud. You know, it's like, yes, finally. So you don't have, you know, I'm not that proud.
Yeah. Just,
You
I'm
know?
a, I'm a
It's
deeply
like,
ashamed gay man.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm human.
Look at you, man. Look at it.
Yeah.
It just kills me. To look at all
Independent
that.
Spirit Award nominee right there.
That's right. Independent Spirit
I thought
Award
I'd throw
nominee.
that out there.
What makes a spirit better if it's independent?
Don't even answer.
Oh
it, dude.
no,
Don't
that's
even
a
answer
beautiful
it.
question.
I mean,
What
who's
comes from first, the spirit, the chicken, or the egg? I don't
well,
know.
I just like to think of it in terms of who's going to award the Dependent Spirit Award. We've given it a lot of thought, and we realized that you're utterly dependent
Yeah.
on the spirit.
You know what? This might not be answering your question, but I did a Broadway show 2 years ago called Birthday Candles, and they gave me a theater world award for like premiere, like a Broadway debut. And I remember going to receive this award. I was surrounded. It wasn't a competitive award. It was basically, you did a good job, and you and these 5 other people were giving you this award.
Right.
And I go, well, that's the spirit, right?
Yeah.
That's the creative spirit. It's not a competitive spirit. I know in America we like to claim who wins and who is
The
second
trophy
place.
does have a certain
You know what I mean?
significance.
Yeah, and
vis-a-vis your-
does it feel like a participation trophy? It's like, no, it doesn't, because how do you determine that one performance is better than another performance, and that warrants it, that you're going to walk away with that trophy? So I feel it's the same way with the Independent Spirit Awards. In the name, it represents just the creative spirit, as opposed to, oh, I got to win that award.
How many of these things do you have? Not that specific one, but like if you were the kind of person to take your many accolades and awards and put them on, say, a mantle.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would be a large mantle.
Yeah,
But
no, like 4 or 5.
are you proud? Like, of which are you most proud, Enrico? I mean, what do you got? You got Emmys?
No,
You never got an Emmy?
I'm not. Well, if I don't want to win an Emmy for this, I'm never going to win an Emmy, because it's so much fun and people love it. I think it's going to be a very popular show. I mean, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Popularity has a lot to do with it. I should have won an Emmy for Louis Utz, but nobody saw it. Louis Utz was the greatest.
Hope and Gloria,
Hope
right?
and Gloria.
Yeah.
The greatest performance of my career. Playing it.
I won one.
Yeah.
And
An Emmy. I know you have.
yeah, only I got nominated a bunch for the show everybody knows. Like Dirty Jobs got nominated every year.
Yeah.
I never won one. I won an Emmy for hosting Returning the Favor on Facebook. And I won it during the lockdowns. And when I won it, I forgot it was even happening. Somebody was accepting it for me virtually.
Yeah.
I was walking my dog, Freddie, who, at the moment my phone rang, this guy Jacob called me to tell me I won an Emmy for Best Host of a Reality Series. As my dog was shitting, right? But the funny part is, the minute my dog squatted, he was in front of a driveway, and the people walked out of the house, right? So the dog is about to crap on a driveway, and the people. So I have the bag in my hand. So I put the bag in my hand, and I reach down
To catch it.
and I catch.
Yeah.
I catch Freddie's crap midair as my friend Jacob tells me I won an Emmy.
Memories. Am I right?
You never forget moments like that.
It was just a great.
Tell us about the
juxtaposition
time
of-
you won that Emmy. Where
Gets
were
better.
you? Yeah.
I was I was on Golden Gate Avenue, but it gets even better. 1 week later, they canceled the show.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, how many times has that happened?
you win an Emmy.
And you're canceled. Nobody
canceled.
cares.
Yeah,
Nobody cares. Why is that?
I-
It's quality, but yet nobody's watching. So
Well,
is
in that
that's
case-
just the business of
I wasn't.
business.
Yeah, Zuckerberg. He spent $1 billion
Yeah.
to see if he really wanted to compete with Netflix, to see if he wanted to be in that business. So he launched a platform called Watch, and he hired like Jada Pinkett Smith and me and some other people to do whatever show we wanted. And I wanted to do the show that I did, and it ran for 100, and I'm super grateful. People loved it. It was downloaded 400 million times. In fact, we're rebooting it right now under a different name because it was good. It was a celebration of nice people doing good things in little towns.
I remember that. Yeah.
But of all the shows to hit, only to go away because the larger grand experiment turned out to be, we don't want to. After $1 billion. I mean, imagine having Just Shoot Me canceled at the height of its popularity because, was it CBS or ABC? NBC, one of them, bound to be one.
Yeah.
Just decides, we don't want to do shows with cameras in them.
Yeah. Well, he was the guy who canceled us.
Who?
Jeff Zuckerberg.
Jeff Zuckerberg.
Isn't that who you just mentioned?
No, there's Mark Zuckerberg who runs Facebook.
Who
there's Jeff Zucker who runs CNN.
He went to CNN, right? He went to CNN, but he came from
right.
NBC, and he was our last chief that got rid of Just Shoot Me.
Did
Jeff
you know
Zucker.
him?
Jeff Zucker. Yeah,
Did you ever meet him?
Yeah, he seemed nice to us, but I don't think he.
My mother called him to complain that I was doing a show called Somebody's Got to Do It, and it kept getting preempted. It came on before Bourdain's show. And so like we shoot the show and we promote it, and then there'd be like a riot in Haiti or something, and they're breaking news.
And your mom would call him?
She had enough. So she calls him, leaves a message, gives him all kinds of hell. And it was so funny. We went back and filmed her doing it and turned it into a promo because they kept moving the show.
That's so awesome.
And I'll tell you one other thing about that guy. You know, we don't see eye to eye on a bunch of stuff, but he gave me the rights to Somebody's Got to Do It back after Trump won. And he literally said, I'm going into the Donald Trump business. And if you thought your mother was pissed before about the amount of times, you're going to get preempted everywhere. So we had shot season 4.
Oh, that was the first term, right? That's when the first time right. CNN made. Yeah.
That was first of 2016.
2016, yeah.
So he literally gave me the rights. He was licensing that show. And you know, Mary, this is like you'll appreciate the extraordinary complexity of that deal. We owned the rights. They took a license, and then they just gave it back to us and didn't even air the 4th season. That's how committed he was. The money they lost on that was bananas, and they just gave it back to us. So we cut it in ½ hours and sold it around the world.
All because he found entertainment in who he was.
Well, he also knew that.
But we're talking about CNN too, right?
That's right.
We're talking about a news network that is supposed to be newsworthy.
Yeah.
And it was all about entertainment, and there it is.
You know what, man?
Like, okay.
I think. Well, how do you think about that? Like I know you're not a political guy, really, but but you're living with a political animal. Chuck is very, 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 very opinionated.
What?
Yeah,
very opinionated.
I mean, I became a U.S. citizen after the 2000 election, right? When Gore and Bush had that, it was crazy. It was like the Super Bowl, and I want in the next 4 years. So I became a U.S. citizen so I can play. And Chuck, being really balanced in his thinking, because he knew he was talking to me.
Why the laughter? Why the laughter?
He said, listen to NPR, listen to Fox, listen to all of it.
Yep.
Listen to talk radio, listen to all of it. And I just found it interesting that people on the left were just so mean and angry.
Yeah.
And people on the right were just sort of like, they just seemed logical to me. But I'm still apolitical, but I naturally lean to the right, I think, because logic will prevail over emotion, and name calling and vilifying people just for how because that, first and foremost, I'm an actor, And to be an actor, I have to be non-judgmental. I can't play a character and judge them. So people's behavior and choices they make are it's gold for me. I don't judge it. And who you vote for, I don't judge either. But there are a lot of people who can't help but just dig into them and call them things and call them names and mean or racist or this or that. It's just like, what are you talking about? You don't understand why this person is voting for this person. Maybe it's about paying the bills and feeding his family. It doesn't make him racist. It doesn't make him anything other than I'm going to vote for that guy. That's the part that confuses me about how divisive it is in the United States. It's like it's still people on the left just love being mean, and I love it when a guy like Jon Stewart says, "Stop calling him anything. Stop calling him names, and start changing things.
Yeah,
do something."
Well,
it's like finally.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the only thing that's persuasive today, not the only thing, but we need to be able to criticize our own tribe.
Yeah.
Like when Bill Maher speaks that kind of truth to that audience, it matters because that audience doesn't necessarily want to hear it. Likewise on the right, if you can, who did a good job? Ben Shapiro did a good job for years when he would weigh in on Trump every single day. Called Good Trump, Bad Trump. This is what he did I like. This is what he did I don't like.
Yeah.
And the people who were all in really hated him for pointing out
down.
But in the end, that's kind of what we have to do. It can't be about D's and R's. And I wonder how you felt because I guess you were down here a couple weeks ago when the fires happened.
Yeah.
This is like your second home.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know how you think of it. But what was that like? Had you just gotten the operation?
No, it was pre. So I wasn't sure if they were going to cancel the surgery. I didn't know what they were going to do, if it was going to shut the whole city down.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea. And these alerts on my phone, our phones, like, it was. And then, things settle down and you realize, oh, my friend just lost that house. Another friend just lost. But then, you learn things along the way, too. It's like, wow. I mean, personally, I look at California and I go, where's Hollywood?
Yeah.
It's because, it feels like the desert that it's built on. Literally, there's no water. There's no work. It's dry. It's like, why is that? Why is California so dry? People are moving to Atlanta because the work is there. It's like it's Hollywood. We should be making films in Hollywood. We should be making TV shows. It should be that.
Do you think of Hollywood purely as a geography or as a sort of a state of mind?
It's a culture. It's absolutely the culture of the area. And when you dedicate yourself to a craft, you're a cinematographer or a grip. These are working class guys making things that entertain, It's like that's the simple version of it. Then you weaponize it and you have an agenda and all that stuff. But,
See,
there's no reason to not keep it here. And who do I go? Who do I blame or who do I try to hold? It's like, it's whoever's in charge, right?
I shot a show in Atlanta during the lockdown. Couldn't afford to shoot it here. Shot a show in Oklahoma. 7 seasons in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Because that was a better deal than Atlanta.
Yeah.
But it was impossible to even think about doing it here. What if Hollywood needs a new hip? Right? I mean, like, really, what if this town has become like a stubborn 61-year-old man?
Oh, that's a good point.
Who refuses
That's a good point, Mike.
to lie down and let its own scrotum swell up to unnatural sizes and to deal with a weepy wound.
That's a good point, Mike.
Right? Because you pivot or perish. You adapt or die. And this town, to me, feels intransigent And so, like, no, we're going to do it this way. And whether it's a union that won't budge, or whether it's a producers guild who won't budge, or whether it's, I don't know what it is, but man, it's like that pop fly. We're not going to hover here forever, guys.
No, I got no argument against that. Dude, that's a really, really good point.
I didn't want to argue with you. I want you to
No,
agree
but I mean
with me.
that's because I'm romantic about it. I want it to be. When I came here in the '90s, it was still beautiful. People were happy. People were making money, and it was just it was like sitcoms were. Everybody was watching sitcoms. And
Are you sure, or did you just have a part of the elephant? Were you holding the tusk and concluding that the whole creature was ivory? Because that's what you had your hands
maybe.
on.
I mean, I was coming from the theater school. I just wanted to work.
Yeah.
I mean, that first paycheck, talk about weeping, but I made more in 1 week doing a Hope and Glory than my dad did in a whole year as a laborer. And it's like,
All right, man. You want to cry?
Yeah.
Let's cry.
Yeah, tell me that.
Because I live in a pretty nice house now. And my dad came to see me for the first time about 5 years ago. And he taught public school his whole life. And he knows what I do, but he doesn't really like the idea of being hired to go give a speech and getting paid more money
Oh my God.
than he earned.
Oh my God.
Right? In any given decade.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that we don't talk about that. I think he kind of knew it, but he walked out onto my deck and he looked at the view that I'm blessed to enjoy, and he wept.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, dude, with that, it just like, what did I miss? How did you do that? And it reminded me of that scene in Death of a Salesman.
Oh.
Right? Where Willie says to his uncle Ben,
Yeah, how did you do it?
and he said, I walked into the forest with nothing and I came out a rich man. And poor Willie can't connect the dots. It's like, but how? Gold mine? What? How? And that's the thing about this town. Everybody knows what's possible.
Yeah.
If you work hard and you're lucky, everybody knows you could be a Rico Colantoni with a resume.
Yeah.
With more, you can't even name your credits.
Yeah.
But they don't quite know how until it happens.
You know what? I think it took me going back to Toronto to realize what's so magical about this part of this place. And Disney proved it. You see barren land, but if you plant it and you water it and you nurture it, it'll grow. But it's not like New York City where you feel the creative energy, just like it just literally carries you moment to moment in New York. But in LA, in this area, if you plant it and work it and it'll grow.
Dude, that's Chauncey Gardner right there.
That is Chauncey Gardner.
That's Peter Sellers, man.
But isn't it true though?
Yes.
And how many people come here with the expectation that it's just going to happen, that they don't have to do anything?
Talk a little bit more about that juxtaposition between the difficulties and the advantages of New York, since that's where we started.
Yeah.
Right? Me
Yeah.
stepping over,
Yeah.
him stepping over
Yeah.
a body that I thought was dead. Like, what could possibly be the advantage for a creative type in that environment? Pros and cons of each place. Imagine somebody's listening who's trying to decide, I know I'm going to be in this business, I'm just not sure where to live.
Yeah. I guess in New York, you have to be louder than the noise, right? You have to make a statement that is louder than what's going on. And here, it's so quiet. I go back to that analogy of plant it in your own garden. You could create something and make it your baby and it'll grow. But in New York, there's an energy that everybody's tapped into. But is it channeled? Do you know where do you want it? I mean, when I came out of Yale and I started working,
Microphone.
so many of my actor friends were saying, well, why you?
Right.
Why you?
Yeah.
And I go, I don't know. I guess because I want it. I'm a working class guy. When I set out, I didn't say I wanted to be, Dad, I want to be a star. I didn't say I want to be a movie star. I said, I don't understand that. My parents were working class. I understood that. Apply that to this. I'm going to be a working actor. We went to the academy. It was about how to become a working actor. I just wanted to work and keep working. And New York really gave me the people, the energy, just kept me buoyant. It just kept me going until the next thing I know, I'm at Yale, and it's a different sort of energy. You're in New Haven. You're outside of the New York City vortex, and you really see that there's theater is all over America, regional theater. I didn't know about regional theater. It was like, wow, that's where the working guy is.
Yeah.
That's where they're working. They're in companies, and they're working, and they're doing plays. And I didn't think I'd come to Hollywood. But it was a sitcom, right?
Yeah.
Which was like a play. And it was aligned with being bigger and having more fun and making choices and rehearsing. And so it was an easier transition. But it was always about the energy of New York, and that working class mentality came from the East Coast, Toronto, New York. The East Coast has that.
You know Nathan Fillion?
I know he's Canadian.
Don't you guys all know each
Never,
other?
yeah.
No, he sat right there a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And he was my neighbor in New York. And he said virtually everything you just said. And, you know, his thing, he's such a geek. He's such a science fiction guy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it was such a treat to talk to him because we hadn't talked in 20 years, but we each followed our respective careers on the TV.
Yeah.
And so I was always just so delighted. A little different than you because I knew you well before that, and I knew there was no doubt of the path you were on. But when I met Nathan, he was Joey Buchanan in One Life to Live, I guess. Oh. And so it was like it could have gone either way. But he had to quit that gig to come out here.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
And so to reminisce with him about New York, and to who else did I just listen to? The Game of Thrones actor, little fella. What's his name?
Peter Dinklage.
Yes. God, what a talent that guy is. I mean, how else am I going to describe him? Dark hair, beard.
3 foot.
That's 3.5 feet.
Yeah.
He just gives a great talk on.
He's powerful.
Very
There's
powerful.
a lot of energy in that.
But this the struggle to articulate like the dark matter of New York that can work in your favor if you get into that slipstream. It doesn't exist here. It's so different.
No.
No. I don't know if that's part of the public service too. People ought to know it.
Young actors say, "Where do I go? L.A. or New York?" I don't blink. I go to New York. Go to New York. I would rather be unemployed in New York City than Los Angeles. Between gigs, New York City is the place to go.
Yeah.
You're walking down the street, you randomly run into somebody. Next thing you know, it's like the universe is working very well in New York City, and it's happening.
Yeah.
That fast. You go into a museum, you see a play. Oh, we're going downtown. Spend the whole day and not know what just happened.
Yeah. Great.
And here it's like but you have to bring that same work ethic to Los Angeles in order for anything to sort of come your way.
But maybe a different expectation in order to stay sane.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It's about the work. I mean, they talk about it. It's about the work in New York. It's about doing it. It's about getting to do it. And that's very interesting about Canadian film and television as well. They very much want the success. The standard for their success in Canada is getting to do it. They're not, if the government is giving you money or they get financing from something else, they get to go to work, and that's the success. They're not worried about box office. They're not worried about anything other than, we made this.
Yeah.
You know?
Is it just my imagination, or is like John Candy having a moment?
Still?
Posthumously.
Oh. Tell me why.
Well,
Tell me how.
we're just talking about Canadians, and I'm sitting here like wondering, did Second City TV loom large for you? Like, was that a big deal?
Oh, yeah.
It was for me, too.
Oh, yeah. Kids in the Hall too.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but SCTV was like, yeah, and I guess most of them started in Chicago anyway at the Second City, and then the show spawned from there. But
Yeah.
imagine the alumni that came out of that show.
How are you going to feel when Canada becomes the 51st state?
I hope it lowers taxes. I hope it gets cheaper to live up there. Keep more of my paycheck.
Yeah. Chuck, did you write down Louder Than the Noise by any chance?
Yeah, be louder than the noise.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the title for this one. I know if I talked to you long enough, you'd say something worth writing down.
We got a crier and then we got a cougher. We got a crier and a cougher.
I know.
I haven't laughed that hard. It's like part of my head is going. My leg is going to spasm because it hasn't had that much. It's like it's been atrophied from the surgery, and suddenly it's just shaking like this.
Oh, man.
Oh, Mike, you're so awesome.
How long have we been talking?
Oh my God.
Hour and a half.
All right,
geez,
dude.
that's
I
way
love you.
too-
I
that's
love you
way too
so much for
That's
coming
way
here.
too-
And,
to this day, I don't know why, but okay.
well,
but thank you
because-
for having me.
You know why? Because you love him.
I do love him, and I love you.
Nah,
And,
it's
you know
tertiary. The shows that people should watch if they have any taste that you're currently involved in.
what?
The
English teacher, you can see it on Disney Plus or Hulu.
Yep.
FX, I think, is still on demand. We're still waiting to hear on a second season pickup, but they just extended the hold on us. So that's
It looks terrific.
It's a good. It's very funny. I have a lot of fun.
Do you
and
cry? Are there any weeping?
No weeping. I save that for you and Chuck.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
There's no way to stop him,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
No way to
Yeah,
stop
yeah,
him.
yeah.
And what's the other one you're shooting in Canada now?
It's called Allegiance. I think right now you can only see it on CBC and CBC Gem. It's not down here, but
So dozens of viewers, and I hear great things.
You have to live in the 51st state to see that one.
I sound like
Yeah,
Eeyore or Snidely.
Sadly Whiplash.
Some animated character.
And there's another show called The Trades that I do up there with.
That's great. We're out of time. You know,
And then there's a tire company that I
hey man, I know a guy in Australia who's looking for a spokesman. I think I'm off the short list now since he heard me throw up on my feet. The one and only Enrico Colantoni. Chuck, thank you for getting him down here.
Oh my God.
Rico, thank you for being so forthcoming about all your body's failings and all your hopes and dreams.
Dude, I hope you get something out of this. It's like some of the people that you have on the show are smart and they're worldly, and all I do is cry.
Think of yourself
all I do
as
is cry.
a counterbalance. But wherever there's
I'm the comic relief. Is what I
You know
am.
what those people did? What
comic
those people
relief.
have that you don't have is the ability to talk into the microphone.
They got books, they got something to sell, and me, I just cry.
do you have like a website or anything?
No, I don't. I don't even go on Instagram. I don't.
There's nothing anybody can do
Instagram,
except
I guess.
watch you're on Instagram.
Instagram, yeah.
What's
Enrico
your,
Colantoni _really.
Here it is, yeah. Enrico Colantoni _ really.
Yeah.
Folks, do me a favor.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this conversation, light up his Instagram. And if it's not too much to ask, go ahead and post a picture of your genitals. He'd appreciate that, all things considered.
I got the scar. Oh, the scar is
I know.
beautiful.
Well, you know what? You're going to show it to me as soon as somebody says cut. Say it, Chuck.
Cut.
There we go.
If you like what you heard,
And even if you don't,
won't you please,
pretty please subscribe. Well, I hate to beg and I hate to plead, but please